The first time I watched Frances Ha was right before moving to a new city, and I was absolutely terrified. I related to this feeling of being scattered and untethered to anything, having no roots and nothing to ground you. The second time I watched it was when I was living in this new city, and I bawled my eyes out at the dinner party scene because I had no friends and felt lonely. The third time, I introduced it to my friend when I was working a job I didn't like and I was always too busy to do the things I really wanted to be doing. The fourth time was yesterday. I cried at the ending because right now my friends are about the only thing I have. I don't have a job. I've been looking for one for a little while now and I'm actually losing my mind. I related to the scene where Frances goes back to work an event at her old college and she keeps telling people she's only 27. Life in my 20s has got me feeling a very weird way, and this video is about that. But now I'm back, baby.
There's a world where I can go and tell my secrets to in my room.
I have this theory called the triangle theory, which goes as such. Your fulfillment in life can be represented by all three sides of a triangle. One side for your career, one for your social life, and one for your love life. The really sick and twisted thing about this though is that no one can be fulfilled by all the sides of the triangle at any given point in their life. Well, I don't know if that's actually true. You probably can if you're really lucky. But in the context of 20-something life, you'll struggle to even have one side of this triangle. It's a delicate balancing act of accepting certain failures and welcoming the little successes that you have. And another reason to hate maths. You will know at least one person that could be a successful cult leader. You might even have had a crush on them. You will absolutely know more than one if you went to an art school. You'll probably know at least 5 if you went to film school. That was my stomach. My favourite scene from Frances Ha is the dinner party scene. And each time I watch it, I relate more and more to her being asked what she does for a living, and she says it's complicated because she doesn't really do it. Frances Ha is the perfect movie for measuring your life because each time you watch it, you relate to a different aspect of it. Niche things you didn't notice before suddenly mirror a really specific part of your life. If you want to know which part of the triangle you don't have, then watch Frances Ha, and whichever bit you cry at the most is the part of the triangle that isn't there. Watching it this time round, I also realised that I'm undateable, but not because I'm too tall. Every now and then I like to think about what my future wedding will be like if I have one. I think this is something that a lot of people do. Who will my maid of honour be? Who would I invite? Would it be a big party or a small one? And over the years, each time that I think about who will be at this possible wedding, I say, oh yeah, this person will definitely be invited. This person will be my maid of honour and this person will be my best man. But every year when I think about this, the entire guest list has changed. The person who I said last year would be my maid of honour isn't even my friend anymore. In your 20s, the people in your life aren't permanent, even when you think they are. Every now and then you will imagine the guests at your funeral as well, and sometimes you'll imagine how people will react to your death if it happened and you won't feel a thing. But sometimes you'll imagine the death of your violin teacher from when you were 12 and you'll cry for hours. That's a side effect of being in your 20s. You start to overthink about your place in the world and whether it really matters at all. This is also known as PMS. Let's talk about love, but more importantly, eye contact, because sometimes I think that's more fun. It's okay to have crushes on kind of annoying people. That's the point. You're allowed to do that in your 20s. You will always think it's really easy to fall in love with people when you're either on the tube or in Shoreditch. Remember how hard it actually is to fall in love. And remember all the times that did not work out for you. These are all my journals from my 20s so far. These 2 are devoted to that one time that I was in love. And it was awful. Okay, you want to know how bad it was? I've just flipped through this and I can already see the word fuming about 7 times. When I first saw you that night, I felt sick. Oh no. I hate that I can't listen to 2 of my favourite songs without thinking of you. I never wanted to ruin my favourite songs. I should never have associated them with you. Ugh, that's tragic. Anyway. To be helpful about this, I've actually made a definitive list of questions that you should ask yourself to find out if you should date someone. This is a pretty watertight scientific study, so you should take it very seriously. 1. Do you like them, or are you just bored in the current space you're in? 2. Do you like them, or are they just the most attractive or most charismatic person in the room? 3. Do you like them, or are they just being mean to you? 4. If you dated them and it didn't work out, would it change any part of your current routine? I.e., if it's a gym crush, would it stop you going to the gym? If it's a work crush, would it make you feel awkward at work? If it's a coffee crush, would it stop you going to your favourite cafe? 5. Do you have fun with them, or are you making the fun because you're a fun person to be around? And 6. Would you recommend them to a friend? When you're hit with a bout of self-hatred, ask yourself if your friends really hate you or if you just need to go to sleep. And then just go to sleep. Columbus is one of those films that's warm but cold and detached at the same time. The greenery of their town wraps you up in this feeling of safety, but it's contrasted by this objectivity in the cinematography that always keeps you distant from the characters and what they're experiencing. You feel their loneliness through a reflection in a mirror, all their backs turned to us from a distance. I like this quote from the film because it's true of life, I guess. Jin and Casey keep going because of their passions, which brings them so much joy even though there's so much sadness and emptiness in their lives. I think that's what it feels like to be pursuing what you love. There's asymmetry but balance in your passion for what you do and the constant worry that you'll never get there, that there will always be a hurdle too high to jump. You feel heavy with this feeling of longing, ambition, failure, and not quite being where you want to be. You feel the weight of your dreams and the horrible, unthinkable idea that you won't reach them. And right now, your future feels very far away. And watching certain films and looking at certain people reminds you of this and makes you feel like you're moving nowhere. But when you know exactly where you want to be, then everything reminds you of this. You feel haunted. But maybe that's just your future self reminding you of the life that's waiting for you. And you just need to keep going. Shout out to my friend George, who's never heard this anecdote in his life, but I recently listened to this interview with Jeremy Pope, and he told them this story about how he spoke to his therapist and said he was sick of life and how it's constantly so up and down. And he sometimes felt so ecstatic and happy, and then the next week was feeling really low. And he told his therapist that he just wanted it to be more even and regulated. And she said, when you look at a heart monitor, it's always going up and down. And what happens when it starts flatlining? That's right, you die. I don't know why I like this anecdote so much. I just keep telling it to everyone I know. And then I keep telling it to the same person over and over again. And then every time I tell it to him, he's like, yeah, you've told me this like 4 times. The first couple of times when I told it to him, he pretended that I hadn't said it before, which is really nice because it's actually really annoying and boring. But anyway. I love the scuba suit concept from The Graduate. Everyone in this phase of life experiences this feeling at some point. The feeling that we're just floating, slightly sinking, with no clear direction or purpose, but somehow not drowning. You just accept that you're drifting. And everything feels as pointless as wearing a scuba suit in a swimming pool. It's a little bit worrying and not at all like being on holiday. I also thought of another metaphor. You know that feeling when you're a kid and you go into the sea and every time you come out you tell everyone that you nearly died in the surf, that you got washing machined? Yeah, that's your 20s. Every now and then you go under and you come up feeling exhilarated and like you just cheated death, except you go back onto the beach to tell people about it and no one cares. It's okay to cry on the phone to your mum sometimes. I used to stand in front of the mirror and practice smiling so I wouldn't cry when my mum picked up the phone. And now I've cried on the tube twice, whilst on the phone to my mum. It's not embarrassing to be homesick or lonely. It happens. It's fine to not enjoy experiences that everyone finds fun in the movies. Most people find it harder than we talk about. Recently, whenever I wake up, I feel like a failure. And the only thing I look forward to is putting raisins in my porridge. Porridge of the day.
Slow down, you crazy child. You're so ambitious for a juvenile. But then if you're so smart, tell me, why are you still so afraid?
The episode from Girls called One Man's Trash is my favourite from the entire series. When I watched it, something about it really clicked with me. I guess you become content with kind of mediocre situations when you're in your 20s, and it feels really brash to hope for more, because it's scary to be hopeful because you don't know if it's just delusional to think about nice things. And it's easy to get carried away with these ideas and then let it seep into your life and make you feel sad. And when Hannah stays with this man for a little while, she sees this life that she only halfway dares to dream about for herself because it seems so unbelievable. And when she gets to experience it, she breaks down and cries that it isn't her life. I think I too would feel the same if this happened to me. Is it worse to never experience something than to experience it and then have it taken away from you and potentially never have it again? I think I would rather never have a jammy dodger ever in my life than be told that I could have them for 1 week and then never again. Then again, my dad didn't get to try bacon for the first time till he was 30, and he turned out fine. I don't know what I'm talking about.
A stick, a stone, it's the end of the road. It's the rest of a stone, it's a little alone. It's a sliver of glass, it is light, it's the sun. It is night, it is death, it's a trap, it's a gun. The oak when it moves, a fox in the brush. The knot of the wood, the song of the thrush.
I noticed that often the people in these films become very attached to objects, things, animals, or strange quests, becoming obsessed by something so bizarre because it gives them a sense of purpose. Like being obsessed by delivering a chair, a dog, disco music, your not boyfriend's waterbed business. You attach your purpose to anything that will accept it, like making 4 hours worth of videos about a TV show about teenage mermaids. You try to avoid certain messes in your life by clinging to another mess, but one that gives you a feeling of control. Anything that makes you feel like you aren't floundering. Your passions, a building, a drug, a hobby, a chair. Maybe we just want something that will love us back and validate our existence in some way. Something that will make you feel good about yourself when you tell people about your life. Something that will make you sound accomplished when your grandparents are asked at Bridge Club what their granddaughters are doing. Maybe this time they won't have to lie. I'm an accountant, I'm an artist, I'm a baker. It just feels good to be something. But most of your 20s is not being anything apart from a mess.